A group of friends heads out on a hiking trip, but in reality, it's more of a flexing session. Two of them, who just so happen to be neighbors, immediately start showing off about their ultra-accomplished kids. One mom is gushing about her son, Choi Seong-hyo, the architectural hotshot, while the other can't stop hyping up her daughter, Bae Seok-ryu, who's living the dream in the US with a paycheck to match. Later, Seong-hyo chats with a funeral director because he's working on a memorial park. They're deep in discussion about the park design when his phone rings. And bam, it's award time. He runs off just in time to take his prize. Meanwhile, Seok-ryu's mom is already printing wedding invites, which totally backfires when Seong-hyo's mom finds out and questions the US wedding plan. Cue round 2 of the parent drama. Back in Korea, Seok-ryu rolls up and is met by her childhood buddy, Young Mo-yoon. Naturally, Seong-hyo is there and can't resist roasting Mo-yoon a bit before they take off for some nostalgia-fueled tteokbokki. Just as they're digging in, Seok-ryu's brother pops up. She ducks out of sight like a pro spy. Guess her big return is still top secret. Mo-yoon gets called away for her paramedic shift, leaving Seok-ryu solo. And of course, this is when she runs into Seong-hyo, aka mom's friend's son. Their reunion is less awe and more eye roll, with Seong-hyo side-eyeing her and asking what she's doing skulking around. Just as the whole family starts closing in, she makes an escape move by hiding in a massive packing box. With some epic eye rolls, Seong-hyo actually helps her out of this mess. They sneak into Seong-hyo's new office, then she casually lifts his shirt to check out a scar she left on him back in the day. Just childhood fun involving barbed wire. Meanwhile, Mo-yoon's shift isn't exactly calm either. She's dealing with a homeless man who doesn't want her help and ends up threatening her with a broken bottle. Enter Kang Dan-ho, who tries to help and, well, doesn't exactly nail it. Mo-yoon handles it herself like a boss. Later, Seong-hyo and Seok-ryu head back home, and she layers on extra clothes like armor, fully prepared for her mom's rage. But then, plot twist. Seok-ryu drops the bomb. She broke off her engagement. Unfortunately, her parents and Seong-hyo's mom overhear the whole thing. And if that wasn't enough, she also mentions that she ditched her US job and is back for good. So much for golden child status. Now she's jobless, engagementless, and officially back to square one. In the chaos, Seong-hyo whisks her away to a nearby park. When she asks him to buy her a drink, he, being the jerk that he is, suggests she just swallow her spit instead. Typical. She takes off her mom's armor layers and opens up about how life hit overload. A new job, wedding planning, moving overseas. It was all just too much. Just then, a couple asks for a photo, assuming they're dating. Cue instant friend zoning. Our moms are friends. Back home, Seok-ryu's brother calls, saying her mom's too tired for another round. Feeling safe, they head back, only to realize that peace was a big fat lie. With Seong-hyo's not-so-helpful meddling, she's caught up in the family drama all over again. As her mom scolds her for the umpteenth time, Seong-hyo watches, smirking and reminiscing about the time she stood up to bullies for him. One thing's for sure, her return promises maximum chaos, and he's here for every second. In a flashback, Seok-ryu convinces Seong-hyo to join her in the glamorous life of part-time work, scrubbing barbecue grills. Her hard-earned cash goes to essentials, of course. Glow-in-the-dark star stickers for her ceiling and a gold brooch for her mom. But now, she's waking up in what used to be her bedroom, downgraded to a storage room. A not-so-subtle nod to her mom's simmering resentment. The tension at home keeps building. Mi-suk's irritation means Seok-ryu's not getting breakfast. Seok-ryu later swings by Seong-hyo's office with rice cakes, regaling his co-workers with how she saved him back when he moved from France. He can't resist pulling her down a peg though, recalling her messy childhood antics, like snooping on him in the bathroom and always assigning him the worst roles in games. Meanwhile, Mi-suk keeps herself busy stirring the rumor pot, so now the neighbors think Seok-ryu lost her job and even cheated on her fiancé. Venting to Mo-yoon's mom, Mi-suk learns about their high school reunion, perfectly timed with Seong-hyo's office opening. Meanwhile, without much else to do, Seok-ryu spends her days riding buses with no destination. It turns out she lost her job due to workplace racism, and her fiancé betrayed her when she was already down. Despite all this, she buys a pomegranate tree as a gift for Seong-hyo's grand opening, a gesture of pure thoughtfulness. The next day, Mi-suk softens a bit, but bans Seok-ryu from attending the event. Embarrassed by her situation, At the opening, Mi-suk endures side comments from old friends, mocking her past pride in Seok-ryu's achievements, which only stirs up her own regrets about never reaching her own academic dreams. Then, Seok-ryu shows up with a brooch for her mum, and Mi-suk has to think on her feet. She covers by telling everyone that Seok-ryu has a new job offer in the US, which Seong-hyo notices from a distance. Back home, tensions come to a head when Mi-suk insists Seok-ryu should just go back to the US, brushing off her daughter's struggles. After a heated argument, Seok-ryu storms out. Seong-hyo, who's overheard everything, follows her. Sitting together at a park, she tries to keep it together, but her emotions catch up to her, and he offers silent support as she finally lets her guard down. The next evening, Seok-ryu comes home late and finds her storage room has been transformed back into her old bedroom. Mi-suk enlisted Seong-hyo's help, and she discovered he was now in the room across from hers. A flashback shows them putting up those stickers together years ago and sharing an unintentional moment when they accidentally fall onto the bed. Classic timing and a reminder of their shared past. In a flashback, young Seok-ryu goes full cheerleader mode for Seong-hyo at his swim race, filling in for his diplomat mom and doctor dad, who clearly missed the memo on showing up. Her mega support gives him the win, proving they're tight beyond the usual snarky bestie vibes. The next day, Seong-hyo can't help but be drawn to a design competition for his old school's gym. Meanwhile, Seok-ryu is thriving on her unemployment schedule, stacked with elite-level activities like gaming, TV, and naps. She tries to get Seong-hyo to read a comic with her, but he brushes her off like it's just another Tuesday. While running a boring errand for her parents, Seok-ryu bumps into her old homeroom teacher, now a full-on principal and surprise. Her teacher pries about her past job, so she sidesteps with the classic dodge and ends up guest lecturing, which leaves her rethinking her own dreams. Ouch. Later, Seong-hyo ropes her into a mission to dig up their time capsule from childhood, loaded with letters to their future selves. Spoiler, they come up empty, and Seong-hyo eventually heads home. Meanwhile, Mo-yun, on her way to the hospital in an ambulance, spots a guy clearing traffic and dubs him her ideal type to her co-workers. Little does she know, it's Dan-ho, our man with a plan. Seong-hyo's next move is a tense showdown with his co-founder, Ma-yong-woo, and a new client who's all about stealing design ideas. Seong-hyo shuts it down, sparking a big values clash with Ma-yong-woo. Meanwhile, Seok-ryu's meeting a new client, but Seong-hyo, ever the dream police, pulls her aside to question if she's really happy. Things get real, as they clash over whether job satisfaction is a privilege or a myth. Another flashback shows Seong-hyo's Olympic dreams crushed by a car accident, taking him off the path to the 2008 Games. The next day, Seok-ryu's busy reflecting on her future and giving the time capsule another shot, hoping for some childhood wisdom. Her former teacher catches her, and hearing she quit her job, gives her the classic follow your dreams pep talk. Seok-ryu later bumps into Seong-hyo at the gym, where he's all smiles, having found the time capsule. He reads her letter aloud before jumping in the pool for his first swim since the accident. After some coaxing, Seok-ryu joins him, but it's more of a sink or swim situation until he helps her stay afloat. One final flashback shows young Seok-ryu comforting Seong-hyo after his accident, lifting his spirits as only a true bestie could. Back in the present, they trade life questions, and Seong-hyo's letter drops the bomb. He's been low-key crushing on Seok-ryu since high school. Seok-ryu and Seong-hyo finally crack open the time capsule, eagerly reading through their letters, only to realize Mo-yoon's letter is lost. After reading his own, Seong-hyo bolts home, dodging Seok-ryu's attempts to grab it. The next morning, Seok-ryu's family's financial issues come to light, while Seong-hyo's mom is in her world, preoccupied with who knows what. With time to kill, Seok-ryu drops by Seong-hyo's firm, where Mi-yong-woo mentions that Grape, her former company, wants a partnership based on a US contact's referral. Seong-hyo and Mi-yong-woo aren't exactly winning English awards, so Seok-ryu steps in as translator. Meanwhile, Mo-yoon and Dan-ho cross paths at a convenience store. Later, Seok-ryu and Seong-hyo run into them, and the whole group chats. Dan-ho finds out the three have been besties forever but dodges Mo-yoon's questions about his own past, leaving mysteriously. On the way home, Seok-ryu and Seong-hyo bring up the missing letter. Mo-yoon casually admits she secretly retrieved it the night they buried the capsule, but says she doesn't remember what Seong-hyo's letter said. During the meeting, Seok-ryu overhears Grape's team to spill the tea. They're choosing another firm due to tight deadlines, and Seong-hyo's company's lack of experience. Later, Mo-yoon has a heart-to-heart with a 6-year-old kid at the park, who's laser-focused on finding crop circles and aliens. Meanwhile, Danho helps Moyun's mom with some boxes, catching Seokryu's mom's attention. Naturally, she starts low-key investigating if he's a potential match material for Seokryu. Just when Moyun's mom is about to spill some juicy details about Danho, they're interrupted. Timing, right? Seokryu fills Seung-hyo in, who, despite the blow, decides to keep it from Myong-yu and vows to go all in anyway. The kid's energy gives Mo-yoon a full blast of nostalgia, but she realizes too late that she forgot to ask for the girl's name. Back on the work front, Seung-hyo, Ma-young-woo, and Seokryu head to their big pitch meeting with Greep. Seokryu's anxiety spikes when she sees a former colleague, now a team leader, flashing her back to past harassment. Cue the PTSD, her old team's endless work dumping, and nasty rumors about her career break. She ducks out to collect herself, but on the way back, her ex-teammate decides to rub salt in the wound with a side of condescension. Seung-hyo overhears and, without a second thought, throws a punch. The altercation escalates until Seokryu, unleashing her crazy woman alter ego, threatens him with evidence of his past behavior, effectively shutting him down. Later, she and Seung-hyo head to Namsan Tower, locking up a lovelock to commemorate their shared defiance against jerks everywhere. While they're at the tower, Myong-woo calls with good news. Grape, impressed by their designs, wants another project. Oh, and Seokryu's former colleague? Fired, thanks to Myong-woo, who recorded the showdown and used it to secure their position. In a flashback, we see Seokryu skipping a major mock exam to cheer on Seung-hyo at a tournament, a moment Danho captured on camera and recently sent to her. Another flashback shows Seung-hyo visiting Seokryu in the US, bringing her favorite Korean books and earning him a heartfelt hug. In the present, Seokryu congratulates him with a surprise hug after he lands the Grape project, catching him totally off guard. Blushometer maxed out. In a flashback, Seung-hyo visits Seokryu in the US for a low-budget sleepover, and she sneaks him into her room like they're pulling off a heist. The next morning, he sees a message about her dating some Korean-American dude, Brian, and just quietly takes the heartbreak on the chin, because of course, he's been crushing on her in silence. In the present, they return to Seung-hyo's place with groceries to celebrate the Grape win. As she steps in, Seokryu slips, giving Seung-hyo his hero moment to catch her in a princess carry. Dinner is basically Seokryu showing off her culinary skills, and Seung-hyo's visibly impressed. Later, Seokryu confides in Mo-yoon that she's still hung up on her ex, a confession that, plot twist, Seung-hyo overhears. The next day, Seokryu tags along with Seung-hyo's mom and friends to a Buddhist temple where they're praying for their kids. Seung-hyo's mom secretly wishes for a closer bond with her son, crossing her fingers while the incense burns. Still feeling that pang from overhearing her confession, Seung-hyo turns down Myong-woo's idea to get Seokryu's help with the Grape project. Instead, he corners her about following her true ambitions. Meanwhile, Mo-yoon and Danho's budding romance takes a cute turn as they hunt for a four-leaf clover together, with Danho giving strong secret admirer energy. Back at Seung-hyo's office, Seokryu's there when his ex, Jang Tae-hue, a big-shot ongi artist with global collabs, arrives and invites them to her workshop, bringing up some past drama. Seokryu recalls awkwardly catching them mid-kiss on a family visit, talking about flashbacks. Seung-hyo and Seokryu's dad later end up sharing drinks, leading to Seung-hyo crashing in Seokryu's brother Dongjin's room. Seokryu, totally unaware, tries to wake him, and chaos erupts as Dongjin walks in. In the scuffle, Seung-hyo ends up with a stubbed toe, and lucky him, a minor leg cast for a week. Since he's now officially off driving duty, Seokryu takes him to Tae-hue's workshop, where her dad, a master soybean paste maker, shows off his craft with her ongi pots, rallying the local women into a paste-making brigade. Tae-hue drops hints that she's still got some leftover feelings for Seung-hyo, which makes Seokryu feel all kinds of awkward. Myong-woo and the team arrive to help with the paste making, but Seokryu accidentally knocks over a big ongi pot, creating a paste disaster zone. Seung-hyo's public scolding only amps up her embarrassment. Meanwhile, Mo-yoon gets called to the hospital for Yeondu, her little sci-fi sidekick from the park, and finds out Danho is actually Yeondu's dad. When she scolds him for leaving Yeondu alone, the girl playfully vows to ignore her for scolding her dad. Back at the workshop, Seokryu, now in clean clothes, redeems herself with a stellar noodle dish made with the remaining paste. Tae-hue finds Seung-hyo and confesses he was probably more into Seokryu than her all along. Ouch. Later, Seok-ryu finds out Seong-hyo washed her clothes. As they search for a rare 100-year-old soy sauce pot, they finally locate it, and Seok-ryu realizes her true calling might just be cooking. Seong-hyo watches silently, fully acknowledging his feelings for her. Seong-hyo finds himself wandering through the memories of Seok-ryu's firsts. Her first lost tooth, first wobbly bike ride, first runaway attempt, classic, first high school crush, and even her first engagement. Each flashback is a reminder of how deeply intertwined their lives have always been. Meanwhile, Seok-ryu swings by Seong-hyo's place to drop off some side dishes. After a quick chat with his parents, she heads upstairs and stumbles on an old letter he wrote in high school. Just as she starts reading, Seong-hyo, fresh from the shower, snatches the letter, crumples it, and brushes it off as a joke. Not wanting to push, Seok-ryu lets it go and heads over to her dad's restaurant, where some nostalgic memories pop up. But her dad's guarded look suggests he's keeping something under wraps. After the letter incident, Seong-hyo starts pulling back. When Seok-ryu bumps into Tae-hue later, Seong-hyo casually reminds her about work with Tae-hue, giving Seok-ryu enough second-hand awkwardness to make a quick exit. Seok-ryu then meets up with Mo-yoon, who's busy plotting her South Pole dream, complete with boat lessons. Hearing about Seok-ryu's cooking class, Mo-yoon pushes her to go for it, even inviting Seong-hyo to join their celebration, but he bails. That night, Seong-hyo ends up drinking with Dan-ho at his place, where he meets Dan-ho's daughter and introduces himself as the neighborhood friend. Dan-ho, noticing Seong-hyo's conflicted look, nudges him into sharing. Seong-hyo indirectly admits he's torn about liking Seok-ryu and risking their friendship. Dan-ho, recalling Seong-hyo's fearless swim competitions, encourages him to take a similar dive into his feelings for Seok-ryu. Of course, Mo-yoon, the ever-sneaky friend, has been eavesdropping all along, having already uncovered Seong-hyo's feelings by reading his letters from the time capsule. She's way ahead of the game. As Seok-ryu attends her first cooking class, Seong-hyo later spots her dad helping a tipsy woman and gets roped into keeping it from Seok-ryu's mom. The next day, Seok-ryu's mom, already anxious about her husband's late nights, confides in friends and, spurred on by their helpful advice, finds loan papers and some shady bank withdrawals. Meanwhile, Mo-yoon runs into Dan-ho at the convenience store and gives him a mini lecture about not over-sacrificing for his daughter, Yeondu. She then ropes him into a plan to win Yeondu's favor again. After drinks, she leaves him barely conscious at his doorstep with a casual goodbye. Back at Seok-ryu's dad's restaurant, trouble brews. Customers pretending to be YouTubers accuse him of serving food with hair and demand cash for a ruined watch. Embarrassed, he's been taking extra driving gigs to cover the costs. Later, Seok-ryu's pep talk lifts his spirits. The next day, Seok-ryu begins digging into the situation, but finds Seong-hyo already on the case. He confronts the scammers and exposes their fake YouTube channel and cheap watch scam. As they try to escape, Seong-hyo and Dan-ho chase them down, with Seok-ryu and her brother joining in to wrap up the justice. Later, Seok-ryu thanks Seong-hyo, but he reminds her they're not kids anymore and tells her to stop following him. That night, Seok-ryu recalls memories of Seong-hyo's firsts, his first taste of Korean food, his first swim, and his first crush, though she never knew who it was. The next day, after cooking class, Seok-ryu waits to surprise Seong-hyo with his favorite Korean dish, the first meal he had when he arrived in Korea. Frustrated, Seong-hyo tells her again to stop following him. Hurt, Seok-ryu insists that as his friend, she's a part of his life whether he likes it or not. She calls him out, throwing back something he once told her, leaving Seong-hyo realizing that his long-kept secret might not stay hidden much longer. As Seok-ryu presses Seong-hyo about his recent outburst, her ex-fiancé, Hae-on-jun, reappears like a plot twist nobody asked for. Claiming he came back for her, he leaves Seok-ryu's parents in shock. Her dad's on the verge of a meltdown, while her mom's already setting up a dinner invite, sending emotions flying as Seong-hyo and Seok-ryu part ways, both completely thrown off. At dinner, Seok-ryu's mom goes full interrogator, subtly hinting she suspects Seok-ryu of cheating. Hyunjun, taking the blame for the breakup, sets off Seok-ryu's mom's legendary temper, and the family barely manages to keep her from lashing out. Meanwhile, Seong-hyo fills Mo-yoon in on Hae-on-jun's return. At Seok-ryu's house, Hae-on-jun confesses he wants her back, but Seok-ryu makes it clear she's moved on. Choosing to stay with Mo-yoon for the night, she reflects that she's surprisingly calm about it all, proof she's truly over him. A flashback reveals that when Seok-ryu once told Mo-yoon she loved Hae-on-jun, she really just meant she cherished the memories. Her feelings for him are in the past, and she's accepted it's over. The next day, Seok-ryu's mom, still plotting, squeezes her into a dress and drags her out to find Haeyeon-jun waiting. Just as things get uncomfortable, Seung-hyo shows up to rescue her, and they cycle off toward her cooking class, leaving Haeyeon-jun in the dust. They bicker the whole way there, and after an abrupt break, leaves a makeup smudge on Seung-hyo's back. Seok-ryu stomps off to class. Meanwhile, Dan-ho picks up Yeon-do from school, and they witness an accident. Mo-yoon, nearby, jumps in to save the day, impressing Yeon-do enough to finally earn her approval. Later, as she's walking with Dan-ho and Yeon-do, Mo-yoon starts praising the hero who cleared the way for the ambulance, only to realize in horror that it was Dan-ho himself. Flustered, she retreats to calm her racing heart. Meanwhile, Haeyeon-jun asks Seok-ryu to meet for a farewell lunch. That evening, Seung-hyo meets Seok-ryu during her walk and almost confesses his feelings, but she stops him, saying she'd rather hear it when she's feeling clearer. The next day is Seung-hyo's mom Hae-suk's birthday, but it seems like everyone's forgotten. Seung-hyo visits Tae-hui's workshop to check on a finished pot for their project, and they end up at the same restaurant as Seok-ryu and Haeyeon-jun. Both Seok-ryu and Seung-hyo feel the tension, and Seung-hyo remembers her saying she wouldn't reconnect with Haeyeon-jun. After lunch, Haeyeon-jun suggests they keep in touch, but Seok-ryu firmly shuts it down. Hae-suk, spending her birthday alone, is surprised by friends throwing a celebration. Seung-hyo sends her a heartfelt message, while her husband, spotting her with the vice minister, hesitates to approach even with her favorite flowers in hand. Meanwhile, Seung-hyo finds out he's won the competition to redevelop his high school's sports complex. His former teacher mentions that Seok-ryu had been eagerly checking on the results, showing she's quietly rooting for him. Finally ready to be honest, Seung-hyo heads to Seok-ryu's dad's restaurant, where he finds her practicing her cooking. Summoning all his courage, he confesses he likes her. At Seok-ryu's dad's restaurant, Seung-hyo finally goes all in and confesses, telling Seok-ryu not only that he likes her, but that he genuinely cares about her. Meanwhile, Seung-hyo's mom finds a necklace he gifted her that looks identical to one she already owns. Choosing to wear the one from her son, she decides it's more special than the original. Seok-ryu had feelings for Seung-hyo even before he knew his own, recalling a memory of him comforting her in the water. Post-confession, Seung-hyo has a full-on mental breakdown, stressing over his bold move. That night, they both sneak peeks through their curtains, each hoping to catch the other awake, resulting in zero sleep. On the other hand, things aren't as peaceful between Seung-hyo's parents, with his dad suspecting his mom might still be tied to the vice minister. Meanwhile, Seung-hyo and Seok-ryu meet up outside, and in a flirty move, end up at a convenience store to set an expiration date for her response. Seung-hyo grabs a milk carton with an 11-day expiry, giving Seok-ryu a playful deadline. Inspired by Mo-yoon's recent life-saving heroics, Dan-ho gets permission to shadow paramedics for a day, planning to write about their work. Meanwhile, Haeyeon-jun meets with Seok-ryu's mom and admits he still loves Seok-ryu. Her mom, hoping they'll reconcile, worries about Seok-ryu's financial future, afraid she might struggle like her own mother did. Meanwhile, Seok-ryu's brother, Dong-jin, has big dreams of becoming an influencer and pressures their mom to buy him Instagram followers. Seok-ryu's not impressed, leading to a heart-to-heart with her mom, where she learns Dongjin's childhood heart condition led the family to spoil him, while all the expectations fell on her. In a flashback, we see Seok-ryu's first meeting with Haeyeon-jun at a cafe, where a small act of kindness set their relationship in motion. Elsewhere, Seung-hyo and Tae-hui present their collaborative project with success. Later, during a casual chat, Seung-hyo admits to Tae-hui that he confessed to Seok-ryu. Tae-hui teases him, saying he should call her if Seok-ryu turns him down. Seok-ryu's mom later stumbles upon her daughter leaving her cooking class, accidentally uncovering Seok-ryu's secret passion. Back at home, Seok-ryu finds Seung-hyo waiting with Dongjin, who wants to talk. But when her parents arrive, her mom confronts her about the cooking class, leading to a blow-up. Frustrated, Seok-ryu storms out, and Seung-hyo follows, offering her a comforting word, and even his office kitchen for her to practice cooking. The next day, Dan-ho joins Mo-yoon's paramedic team, learning the ropes and even taking a bee sting like a champ. During dinner, her team brings up the mud-flat guy, the only man she's shown interest in, leaving both Mo-yoon and Dan-ho trying to play it cool. The following day, Seung-hyo runs into Seok-ryu and Haeyeon-jun heading toward his office. Haeyeon-jun insists on tagging along, supposedly for a project discussion, despite Seung-hyo's obvious discomfort. At the office, Haeyeon-jun sticks around to sample Seok-ryu's cooking while she practices, But just after serving, Seok-ryu collapses with severe stomach pain. Seung-hyo immediately offers to take her to the hospital, but Seok-ryu, out of habit or comfort, chooses Hyeon-jun instead, leaving Seung-hyo momentarily stung. At the hospital, it's revealed that Seok-ryu's career break 3 years ago was due to a stomach cancer diagnosis, and she underwent surgery and chemotherapy, a hidden struggle that adds a whole new layer to her journey. In a flashback, Seok-ryu and Hyeon-jun were once the picture-perfect couple, sharing sweet moments right up to his heart-melting proposal, only for Seok-ryu's stomach cancer diagnosis to swoop in like a plot twist. Hyeon-jun took on the full supportive boyfriend role, even taking time off to stick by her side through treatment. Fast forward to now, Seok-ryu, done with Hyeon-jun's hero complex, refuses to leave the hospital with him, opting for Seung-hyo's ride home. She keeps her real health drama under wraps, keeping it classic Seok-ryu. Meanwhile, Seung-hyo, feeling a bit bruised, shares his confusion with Mo-yoon, who's dealing with her own budding feelings for Dan-ho. Sparks everywhere, folks. The next day, Seok-ryu's family doubles down on the drama, throwing shade over her cooking career dreams, while a broken washing machine becomes the surprise hero, helping to mend things between Seung-hyo's parents. Meanwhile, Hyeon-jun gives a desperate let's try again proposal. That night, Seok-ryu gives Seung-hyo the news of the proposal, politely turning down his feelings like she's brushing off a second helping of dinner. But Seung-hyo's not backing down. He's made it clear he's willing to wait. Elsewhere, Mo-yoon, rereading Dan-ho's heartfelt article on paramedics, is clearly catching feelings, while Dan-ho's over here secretly on the same page, both of them too shy to admit it. Meanwhile, Seung-hyo's got work problems, thanks to a never-signed-that neighbor putting their project on hold. As if that's not enough stress, he heads home to an impromptu dinner at Seok-ryu's family table, where she decisively friend-zones him again. That night, Seok-ryu mulls over her past with Hyeon-jun, recalling how the weight of her depression strained their relationship. After his second proposal, she goes full truth bomb mode, telling him, "I don't need love anymore. The stomach I have left can barely digest my dream." With that mic drop, she's done for good. The next day, Dan-ho calls Mo-yoon in a babysitter emergency, and Yeon-do ends up with Mo-yoon's mom. Meanwhile, Dong-jin, self-proclaimed influencer in the making, tries pushing some unauthorized fitness product and gets chewed out by his trainer. Influencer life. Not as easy as it looks. Back at Seung-hyo's company, they solve the neighbor dispute by playing plumber, but the stress gets to Seung-hyo, landing him with a fever. In a half-dream, he's flooded with memories of Seok-ryu taking care of him, only to wake up and find her actually there by his bedside. But conflicted and hurt, he tells her it's time to go, claiming he can't keep up this friendship. As Seok-ryu gathers her stuff, a hospital report falls from her bag, spilling her secret about the cancer. Stunned, Seung-hyo confronts her, leading to a full emotional blowout as he processes her secret life struggle. The bombshell doesn't just rock Seung-hyo. Both Seok-ryu's mom and Seung-hyo's mom catch wind, and suddenly, the room's thick with tension, concern, and enough, "you didn't tell me?" energy to fuel a soap opera. The revelation of Seok-ryu's illness leaves her family reeling. Her mom, Mi-suk, finds out first, followed by Seung-hyo, who uncovers her hospital report and shares it with the family like an accidental drama bomb. Seok-ryu tries to reassure everyone, but ends up breaking down, insisting she's healthy now. Cue the family waterworks. In a flashback, we see Seung-hyo studying in the US when Seok-ryu was diagnosed. Hurt after seeing her with Hyeon-jun, he ghosted her calls, and now he's hit with regret for bailing just when she needed him. The next day, everyone around Seok-ryu's doing their best to pretend they're not emotional wrecks. Her family rallies with care, even Dong-jin pitching in. Mo-yoon, finding out about Seok-ryu's surgery, dashes to support her bestie, while Seung-hyo, racked with guilt, gets some dad-to-son reassurance that they'll support Seok-ryu together. Mi-suk's friends circle up, giving her the comforting pep talks she needs. Meanwhile, Mo-yoon runs into Dan-ho, surprise tackling him. Realizing it's him, she spills her struggle to stay strong for Seok-ryu. Dan-ho opens up about his own loss, his late wife, and how his daughter Yeon-do was the only survivor. In the middle of this heart-to-heart, Mo-yoon plants a kiss on him, then freaks out, headbutts him, and runs off like a rom-com escape scene. Elsewhere, Seung-hyo's mom, Hae-suk, has a run-in with her old friend the vice minister, who turns the heat up on her to resign. That evening, Seung-hyo and Seok-ryu clash at the playground. He accuses her of being selfishly secretive, and she walks away without a word. Hae-jun overhears and gives Seung-hyo the real story. After her illness, Seok-ryu dealt with depression alone. Realizing just how much his absence hurt her, Seung-hyo feels the regret hit like a ton of bricks. The next day, Seok-ryu overhears her parents sharing their regrets about pressuring her, then promptly goes missing, leaving her phone behind to keep everyone guessing. Mi-suk, in full mom panic mode, calls Seung-hyo, who tracks her down near the beach. Seok-ryu lightens the mood with a joke about her me time, but finally opens up and lets out all the emotions she's been bottling. They even laugh about her childhood runaway attempt when she worried her parents silly. Soon after, Seung-hyo's dad shows up with her biopsy report, confirming her hospital visit was just for mild inflammation. Cue the giant sigh of relief. Seung-hyo, feeling like he dodged a bullet, pulls her into a tight embrace. Meanwhile, Gyeong-jong tries to surprise Hae-suk with lunch, reminiscing about their good times, but finds her with the vice minister instead. Overhearing some unpleasant rumors, he's left crushed. That night, feeling betrayed, he hits her with the D word, divorce. Back at Seok-ryu's dad's restaurant, the whole family, plus Seung-hyo and Mo-yoon, throw her a no more secrets party. Seok-ryu promises to keep everything out in the open, bringing smiles all around as they celebrate together. Hae-jun, finally realizing he's not the one Seok-ryu needs, decides to head back to the US, calling her with a heartfelt goodbye and parting with only the good memories. The next day, Seung-hyo gets Hae-jun's departure message and takes Seok-ryu to the airport for a proper goodbye. With tears and hugs, Seok-ryu and Hae-jun part ways for the last time, leaving her ready to let go of the past. As she moves forward, Seung-hyo stands by her side, ready to be the support she's been needing all along. In a flashback, Seok-ryu and Mo-yoon's class joins a cake-making activity with a plan to surprise Seung-hyo, only to find a pack of high school girls with the same idea. Mo-yoon teases Seung-hyo for his fan club, while Seok-ryu is not so secretly annoyed. Later, Seung-hyo asks her if there's any leftover cake, but Seok-ryu, still salty, refuses to share. After quitting swimming, Seung-hyo hit the books, and Seok-ryu's support helped him crush it academically. Back in the present, post-farewell with Hae-jun, Seung-hyo joins Seok-ryu's family breakfast and feels a pang watching their warm, noisy family bond. Later, Seok-ryu asks him to help translate a French cookbook, and in the middle of his note-taking, she falls asleep. When she wakes to find him snoozing beside her, she reaches out to touch his face, but he stirs, freaks out, and bolts, only to smack into the door right as Mo-yoon walks in. Concerned, she buys him an ice pack but dashes off when Dan-ho shows up. Both Seung-hyo and Seok-ryu realize today is the milk carton expiration date, but recalling her tears over Hae-jun, Seung-hyo keeps his feelings unspoken. At work, Seung-hyo's team dives into a bookstore project for a musician, while Seok-ryu's parents keep cheering her on in her culinary dreams. Dan-ho, now a regular in the school pickup line, accepts Mo-yoon's mom's offer to babysit Yeon-do. Alone at the office, Mo-yoon and Dan-ho awkwardly apologize for the kiss, she for initiating, and he for not stopping it. Meanwhile, Hae-suk invites Seung-hyo to a family dinner, where she drops the bombshell she and his dad are divorcing. In a flashback, a young Seung-hyo overhears his parents arguing over Hae-suk's Africa plans, with her admitting she regretted having him, words that stuck with him despite her apologies. In the present, Seung-hyo bails on dinner and goes straight to a bar, drinking alone until the owner calls Seok-ryu to help. He confesses his envy of her close-knit family and reveals his parents' divorce. Seok-ryu, noticing the expired milk carton in his office, feels the weight of all that's left unsaid. The next day, his parents start the divorce process but get a court-ordered cooling-off period. Hae-suk confides in Mi-suk, who senses her friend's hesitation. Before she leaves, Seok-ryu quietly tells Hae-suk how deeply hurt Seung-hyo is, even though he hides it. Meanwhile, Mo-yoon has a hilarious dream about Dan-ho as Mud Flat Man, a superhero who saves patients with her. Just as Dream Dan-ho leans in for a kiss, she wakes up with a start. Later, the three of them hit a sauna, where Mo-yoon comforts Yeon-do about missing her mom, giving the kiddo some sweet reassurance. Seung-hyo, practically living at his office, feels the lack of family photos, and Seok-ryu gives him a childhood picture of the two of them, reminding him that his mom is leaving that day. Calling his dad for details, he's shocked to find out his mom's missing from the airport, leaving her phone behind in her suitcase. With Mi-suk's help, Seung-hyo and Seok-ryu search for her near a Buddhist temple she loves. After a tense hunt, they find her, disoriented and injured. In that moment, Hae-suk and her husband finally open up, sharing their true feelings. Seung-hyo vents his frustrations, feeling left out of their lives, and the family embraces, healing old wounds. On the drive home, Seung-hyo's parents even start flirting, hinting at a new beginning as they head to the hospital together. Meanwhile, Seok-ryu finds out Seung-hyo's leaving for a 2-week business trip. She claims she won't miss him, but quickly realizes his absence is a bigger deal than she thought. Listening to his French cookbook recording, she finds a hidden confession, where he says he'd keep liking her long after the milk cartons expired. Touched, she borrows Mo-yoon's car, tracks him down in a beautiful flower field, and finally asks him out on a date. In the middle of the blooming field, they share a banana milk toast, symbolizing their friendship evolving into something more. Seung-hyo catches on, and with the flowers around them, they share a long-awaited, romantic kiss, ready to embrace the fresh start they both deserve. After their first kiss, Seung-hyo and Seok-ryu are riding the high of their new romance. But, surprise, Myung-woo and a co-worker spot them cozied up with banana milk, leaving Seok-ryu scrambling for a cover story about why she traveled all the way to see him. Later, their play-it-cool act at dinner isn't fooling anyone, as the sparks are practically flying. Unable to sleep, they sneak out around midnight to stargaze, where Seung-hyo confesses he's liked her forever. They agree to keep things hush-hush from their families, for now. Back at home, they walk into the ultimate buzzkill. Mi-suk is setting Seok-ryu up on a blind date. They manage to dodge it, but Mo-yoon catches on to their romance. Her theory? They've probably avoided dating all these years because of the endless teasing they got as kids. Meanwhile, Mo-yoon receives big news, an interview for her dream mission to Antarctica. After nailing the interview, she finds Yeon-do and learns she's never been camping. Mo-yoon plans a camping trip for her, Dan-ho, and Yeon-do. Under the stars, Mo-yoon shares her dream of becoming a mom figure for Yeon-do and finally admits her feelings for Dan-ho, but he gently lets her down, leaving her crushed. Meanwhile, Ga-young-jong, Seung-hyo's dad, gets a little too curious and confronts the vice minister, thinking he's after Hae-suk, only to find out he's gay. Hae-suk, horrified by her husband's snooping, has to laugh it off later. At the doctor's office, they learn her memory issues are just stress-related, not anything serious, bringing a much-needed relief. Seung-hyo and Seok-ryu try a movie date next, but it's more awkward than cute, leaving Seok-ryu feeling a bit left out. She heads to his office later, hoping to share her cooking class creations, only to find him surrounded by people, including Tae-hui. Although Tae-hui eventually leaves, the tension boils over, and Seok-ryu finally expresses her discomfort about his closeness with Tae-hui. Frustrated, she storms off, only to regret it later. The next day, their parents unknowingly add to the drama by setting off on a joint trip. Mi-suk and Hae-suk, still in the dark about Seung-hyo and Seok-ryu's romance, make a pact to find perfect matches for their kids. Meanwhile, Seok-ryu and Seung-hyo secretly miss each other, but are too stubborn to reach out. Mo-yoon and Dan-ho, too, are left in awkward silence, with Yeon-do no longer visiting Mo-yoon, hinting at a cooling off in their closeness. Later that night, Seok-ryu and Seung-hyo cross paths unexpectedly, and finally break the tension with an honest heart-to-heart. With her family away, Seok-ryu invites Seung-hyo over for dinner. They share a cozy, intimate meal, during which Seung-hyo admits he feels nervous around her. Unsure of how to put his feelings into words, touched by his honesty, Seok-ryu reassures him, and the evening ends with a tender kiss, marking a deeper connection as they find comfort in each other and share a quiet, vulnerable moment. Seok-ryu and Seung-hyo wake up together at her house, only to be jolted by the sound of her parents' early return. Cue the frantic scramble to look normal, complete with pretend rom-com reading material. When her parents start chatting about setting her up with someone, Seung-hyo considers spilling their secret, but Seok-ryu insists they keep the romance under wraps, relishing these little sneaky moments. Tensions are still high between Dan-ho and Mo-eun, with Dan-ho politely declining Mo-eun's mom's offer to watch Yeon-do, keeping things firmly in distance mode. Later, Seok-ryu takes her cooking certification exam. Ma Young-woo's suspicions about Seung-hyo's love life are clearly piqued when he picks up Seok-ryu with a big bouquet, only to run into Dongjin and Na-yoon, Seung-hyo's junior. Just in time, Na-yoon spills the tea. Dongjin's protein powder scandal has gone viral. After a serious talk, Dongjin admits he just wanted to feel special, and Seok-ryu reassures him that he's already valued. Mo-eun tries to fix things with Dan-ho, but he gently reveals he never shared her feelings, leaving her heart a bit bruised. The next day, Seok-ryu finds out she passed her exam, and Seung-hyo is there to celebrate. Mo-eun, meanwhile, visits a columbarium on a friend's death anniversary, and unexpectedly runs into Dan-ho and Yeon-do. She learns Yeon-do is actually Dan-ho's niece, orphaned by a tragic accident. Dan-ho took on the father role to protect her, a gesture Mo-eun respects, though Dan-ho keeps his distance. Meanwhile, Seung-hyo wins an award, hoping Seok-ryu will attend, but she's feeling down after multiple job rejections and declines. Mi-suk, strained financially with her business struggles and friends planning lavish getaways, is feeling the pinch. Inspired, Dongjin apologizes to his trainer and heads back to the gym, while Seok-ryu realizes her resume may be the problem in her job hunt. Later, Seung-hyo gets a much-needed confidence boost from a restaurant owner who praises his work, reminding him of his passion. When Seung-hyo stops by Seok-ryu's, he spots a US cooking school brochure in her room. Feeling stung, he confronts her, and Seok-ryu admits she's been struggling with rejections and that love alone can't fuel her dreams. Asking for space, she leaves Seung-hyo reeling. Meanwhile, Dan-ho finds Mo-eun drinking alone, and like a proper rom-com lead, brings her home. In a surprising twist, he confesses his feelings right in front of her mom, leaving Mo-eun completely gobsmacked. The following days are tough for both Seung-hyo and Seok-ryu as they wrestle with their emotions. But when Seung-hyo suffers a minor accident at a construction site, landing him in the hospital with a broken arm, Seok-ryu rushes over, overcome with worry. Breaking down, she finally confesses her love. They clear up all their misunderstandings in a warm embrace, realizing they're committed to each other and ready to face their future together, feeling both relieved and hopeful. After his accident, Seung-hyo has a dramatic life-flashing before his eyes moment, with Seok-ryu popping up in all his biggest memories. In the present, on the way back from the hospital, he secretly submitted her healthy dish to a cooking competition, and she snagged 3rd place. Talk about a surprise win. Meanwhile, Mo-eun's mom disapproves of her relationship with Dan-ho, and has even asked him to keep his distance. Hurt, Mo-eun starts pulling away from Yeon-do. Meanwhile, Seung-hyo is gearing up to propose to Seok-ryu, seeking proposal tips from co-workers. With Mo-eun confiding in Seok-ryu and Dan-ho venting to Seung-hyo, the couple sets up a park date for Mo-eun and Dan-ho to clear the air. After some awkward tension, they finally share a long overdue kiss. The next day, Mi-suk and her husband scope out their rival restaurant's food, only to admit it's actually good. Meanwhile, Seung-hyo helps Seok-ryu shoot her first recipe tutorial video, hyping her up like the proud boyfriend he is. Later, Mo-eun has a heartfelt chat with her mom, explaining that she's happy with Dan-ho and Yeon-do despite her mom's concerns. Touched, Mi-suk and her husband decide to close their snack shop and enjoy retirement. Meanwhile, Seung-hyo puts the finishing touches on his grand proposal plan, but it's a disaster from the start. His car breaks down, the chef bails for his wife's delivery, and he even trips over the proposal cake. Back at his office, he tries again with a bracelet proposal, only for Seok-ryu to turn him down, leaving him completely deflated. The next day, he confides in Dan-ho, still nursing his bruised ego, while Mo-eun's mom, finally seeing her daughter's happiness with Dan-ho and Yeon-do, invites them over for dinner. marking her acceptance of their relationship. That evening, Seok-ryu picks up a tipsy Seung-heo from a tent restaurant. Once he sobers up, they hash out the proposal rejection. Meanwhile, Mi-suk and Hae-suk, also collecting their drunken husbands, happen to spot Seung-hyo and Seok-ryu sharing an embrace, getting a glimpse of the genuine love and commitment they've built. Seung-hyo and Seok-ryu's romance finally comes out when Hee-suk and Mi-suk catch them together. With both moms already locked in a friendship war, neither is thrilled about the relationship. Mi-suk, worried Seok-ryu could get hurt, refuses to back them, especially since Hae-suk knows about Seok-ryu's struggles. Undeterred, Seung-hyo goes full Romeo, sneaking up to Seok-ryu's window. They share a sweet embrace, and Seok-ryu affectionately calls him Jagi. Wasting no time, Seung-hyo slips a bracelet onto her wrist and proposes again, which Seok-ryu finally accepts with her whole heart. The next day, Seok-ryu excitedly tells Mo-yoon the big news, only to find her friend busy prepping for a date with Dan-ho. The following day, Seung-hyo, Dan-ho, Mo-yoon, Seok-ryu, and Myung-woo work together to restore the elderly woman's home, leaving her especially grateful for a new window that brings light and warmth into her life. Meanwhile, Mi-suk and Hae-suk's friendship tension reaches a breaking point, prompting their friends to lock them in Jae-suk's office, hoping it'll force a truce. Instead, they bicker even harder. Later, Seung-hyo finds inspiration in a local community program called Our Neighborhood's Architect, offering free consultations to residents. Sharing his plans with Seok-ryu, she lights up. Recalling a viewer who loved her recipes but lacked the energy to cook and dreams of using her cooking to help people. Meanwhile, Mi-suk overhears neighbors gossiping about her restaurant's closure and, fed up, confronts them, sparking a full-on scuffle. Hae-suk steps in to defend her, and the two end up at the police station together. Surprisingly, the drama rekindles their friendship, and Hae-suk assures Mi-suk of her genuine care for Seok-ryu. On his last day before closing the restaurant, Seok-ryu's dad is visited by a single customer who shares how his tteokbokki was her comfort food during a rough time a decade ago. By evening, both families and friends gather at the restaurant for a farewell dinner. Mo-yoon brings Dan-ho, who seizes the moment to interview Seok-ryu's dad about his memories of the place, capturing his thoughts on retirement. That night, Seok-ryu surprises Seung-hyo by calling him outside and proposing to him with a dish she made herself as a symbol of her love. They promise to stand by each other through all of life's ups and downs, sealing their love. Seok-ryu and Seung-hyo's families kick off a lively breakfast together, building unity and, of course, setting the stage for a few competitive parenting moments. Meanwhile, Dan-ho shows up at Mo-yoon's workplace only to overhear her news about the South Pole reassignment. Keeping it to himself, he plans their first date at an amusement park, letting them enjoy the day without the emotional weight of her soon-to-come departure. Elsewhere, Mi-suk and Hae-suk gather with their friends at Mo-yoon's mom's office and hear all about Seok-ryu and Seung-hyo's romance. Naturally, the moms dive into bickering over wedding plans, with each trying to one-up the other on every detail, from venue choices to floral arrangements. Later, Seok-ryu meets with Mo-yoon, who's nervous about telling Dan-ho her South Pole plans. Seok-ryu advises her to be open, knowing it's best in the long run. As part of their reconciliation, Mi-suk teaches Hae-suk some cooking skills, while Hae-suk reciprocates with English lessons. Their friendly competition brings a steady stream of subtle, humble brags, as they insist on their own expertise. Meanwhile, Seung-hyo's dad takes a photography lesson with Seok-ryu's dad, which promptly dissolves into a light-hearted, alcohol-fueled scuffle. On their amusement park date, Mo-yoon gifts Dan-ho and Yeon-do matching family t-shirts. Meanwhile, Seok-ryu's cooking channel takes off, attracting a warm response from her viewers. During a stroll with Seung-hyo, they pass her father's food shop, now beautifully renovated. Seung-hyo reveals that it's her new restaurant, a secret project he worked on with her dad. Overcome by emotion, Seok-ryu feels the full force of love and support surrounding her. Dong-jin gears up for his exam, with Na-yeon cheering him on and snagging his first trainer slot if he passes. The whole crew gathers for Mo-yoon's farewell party, and the next day, she heads to the South Pole, waving goodbye with Dan-ho and Yeon-do's full support. Seok-ryu opens her new restaurant, Rainbow Kitchen, with her dad as her culinary advisor. As she and Seung-hyo try on wedding outfits, she surprises him by requesting to delay the wedding for a year, wanting to give her blossoming career the focus it deserves. At Haesuk's beautiful wedding, Seok-ryu and Seung-hyo share a heartfelt kiss, surrounded by family and friends who have become their greatest supporters. Months pass, and everyone's living their best lives. Seung-hyo is appointed as a public architect for Seoul, a huge career milestone. Seok-ryu, thriving at Rainbow Kitchen, wins the prestigious Orange Ribbon Award just 6 months after opening. Dong-jin becomes a certified personal trainer, with Na-yeon as his first client. Seok-ryu and Seung-hyo's dads, now close companions, bond over regular badminton games, while Mo-yoon, still at the South Pole, keeps in touch via calls and messages. Dan-ho plans a visit soon to cover a story, proving their relationship is going strong despite the distance. Seung-hyo's firm is thriving. Seok-ryu and Seung-hyo, now happily debating their future house plans, resolve to face everything together, holding hands as they look toward their bright future as a team. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.